So we're gonna go ahead and get started with our fusion flow. I'm gonna go ahead and head back onto your workspace, whatever that looks like. I'm gonna crawl back here onto my blanket, and we're gonna start lying on our back. So, however that's most comfortable for you. So as you make your way down onto your workspace, you may decide that having your legs long works best on your body. You could also have the knees bent, feet grounded. You could even start out in a hip opener here, which would be taking the soles of your feet together and letting the knees open wide to the sides. Whichever position you choose, you want to make sure that you're not holding anything up to be in that space, that you can settle and land and ground there. Then the arms resting along sides, but they don't have to be in super close, right? Not squeezed in tight, but rather slightly angled outward with palms faced up. From there, the shoulders then can really roll open. And to even help with that, lightly press the backs of your shoulders into the floor and feel this broadness right across the chest. A nice long spine here, so your chin should be landing about fist distance from your chest, and the crown of your head is reaching to the back of your workspace. That will elongate you. Then close the eyes here. When we close the eyes, of course, we eliminate that one sense of sight, which sometimes can really help us to go inward to ourselves, finding a little bit more focus and concentration. And to add to that focus, we'll then begin to tune into our breath. So just start to notice here your inhales and your exhales. All right. Really feel how the breath moves in and moves out of your body. Notice the space that you fill up with air as you're breathing in. Wait, where does the breath travel to in your body? And then when you exhale, notice, do you empty out completely? Right? Oftentimes we hold a bit of that breath right at the end. Maybe you begin to build a pattern or rhythm to your breath. Maybe start to smooth it out, allowing it to be a little bit more fluid. And with the eyes closed and the attention to your breath, notice that subtle movement in your body just due to the breath alone. Could that just be a slight rise and fall of the belly, or a little lift of the chest? All right, so we tap into these little nuances that really can help to connect us, right? That mind and body relationship. Once we have an anchor onto our breath, we can then start to build it up, right? Increase its depth, its quality, which can then help us later on when we start to implement movement to our body. So I want you to slow the breath down here. Take longer, deeper inhales and slow and steady exhales. Make sure that you now really empty out through and through, all the way to the very bottom. Deep breath in, start it low in belly. Let it fill into ribs. Lift all the way up into the chest, maybe even pausing right at the back of your throat. And then as you exhale, release out from chest, down through ribs, and that final squeeze and push out through lower belly. All right, so a rise and a fall. Then there's also expansion as you breathe in, fill front, sides, and back body with air, right? Really open up. And then as you exhale, press back into, squeeze back into, knit back into your midline as you exhale. Continue with this slow, deep, full, steady breath. When we find our breath like this, it can really help us to stay present, can help us to stay calm when needed. Our breath can also fire us up and give us energy when we need it as well. So building upon this breath you have now, this one more layer, how you inhale, how you exhale. So breathe in deeply. It's light and easy. With your steady breath out now, start to push it out with a little bit more force, power, so the breath out is now audible. Big inhale, let everything open up and fill. As if you're trying to fog up a mirror, right? Push it out, squeeze it out, and notice your abdominal muscles beginning to firm, right? We're contracting our core here. Take the next few rounds of breath to build up that relationship between breath and core. See if you can pull your abdominals in even deeper with every breath out you take. 4 more rounds of breath. Easy inhales, strong, powerful, energetic exhales. My tongue got tied. And then without rushing, when you get to that 4th round of breath, if you're not there already, I'm going to ask you to bend your knees and ground your feet to the floor. Once the feet have grounded and the knees have bent, I want you to now align the knees and feet with your hip bones in the front body. So hip bones in the front, not hips along the side. So generally it's about only 2 fist distances away. And make sure that your feet are in parallel. Here's your alignment of. Arms now, if they were a little bit angled outward, I want you to bring them in a bit closer to body. Again, don't have to squeeze in, but just feel the sides of your arms press along the ribs. With your next inhale, lift your right foot off the ground, draw the knee towards your chest, keeping the arms as they are. And then on the exhale, tighten up your belly and begin to lower that right foot back to the ground with control. Then with your next inhale, left foot will lift, the knee will slowly draw towards the chest. And then on the exhale, lower belly draws down deeply as you control that foot back to the ground again. So we're going to continue to alternate this marching movement. Inhale for the lift of the leg, exhale for the placement down onto the floor with the foot again. You're going to continue with this movement, of course, linking now to your breath. And a simple movement, right? So we don't necessarily have to use our abdominal strength to do this work, but it's training our bodies to use the abdominal strength. Generally, if we were to do this movement, we rely on our hip flexors, right? So taking it up a little bit level to the lower ab center and upper abdominal region to really provide the support for this. Take one more marching with the right side, one more to the left, just so that you're evened out. Good. And then once you've finished, both feet, of course, are equally grounded to the earth. So this idea of the core works in so many ways, to the slightest bit, to working a whole heck of a lot for the exercise. That was just a bit of a warm-up. Okay, let's take the right ankle over the left knee next. Flex your right foot and press the leg away from your body, opening up the outer hip. This is your figure 4 stretch, so any variation that you'd like to take here. Your left foot could remain grounded, or you could lift your left leg, hold behind it with your hands, and maybe even draw it in a bit closer to your body. Still actively press the right leg away, and if choosing to hold the left leg, drop the shoulders from your ears. There's that question, what can soften? Our shoulders love to pull up. How can we draw them down? You could also offer movement here very gently, rocking side to side. Moving side to side will start to let that stretch travel a bit to the outer hip, wrapping around to the glute region. And then if you were in movement, I'll ask you to come back into still. Center yourself again. If you had lifted up your left leg, I want you to place the left foot back to the floor. Make sure it lands back in line with its hip. You're going to keep your right ankle crossed over the knee. I want you to interlace your fingers from here. Take your hands behind your head. Slowly lift up the head, neck, and shoulders. Look down towards your navel and really actively pull the elbows back to widen your arms. Take a deep breath in here. Fill all the way up. Just with that lifted part on your exhale, take a little twist over to your right. Keep those legs steady and still. Center as you breathe in. What you want to focus here on is your waistline. Exhale, use the power of your core to rotate the torso to the right. And then come back through center. We're just gonna take 2 more here. So as you rotate again to your right, feel the left arm pull back a bit, fight you in opposite directions. Come back through center on an inhale. Legs again, sturdy and strong. Twist to your right, squeeze out that breath. Good. Come back through center and then release the head and shoulders down. Release hands also, and then take your arms back at your side. Uncross the right foot, ground it to the floor. We'll swap it out. Left ankle over the right knee. Energy through heel of foot to liven the leg to help press it out for more hip space. You can even take your left hand to the inside of the thigh to push it away as well if that works for you. And then taking your version of figure 4 stretch. So that right foot can stay grounded, right leg can lift, and you can hold it with your hands, maybe even pull it a bit closer to body. Again, check shoulders. Also check the back of your neck. Our chin likes to press to the sky sometimes. So making sure that chin, right, alignment, fist distance from chest. And then movement here if you'd like or prefer. Maybe you decide to just lean your body to a side and then hold that space. That might be what feels best for you. All right, so we just take time to explore our body and to understand it. What works, what may not work. And breathe. And then if you had angled your body or if you were in movement, I'm going to ask you to recenter, come back to still. If you had lifted up your right leg, release the right foot back to the ground, land it in line with hip. Let's take those hands back behind the head and slowly lift up head, neck, and a bit of our shoulders. Look towards your navel to, again, keep the back of your neck long, and elbows, again, actively pull back to open the arms wide. Take a breath in, fill all the way up. Now this time, that lifted part, we're going to rotate to the left. Again, make sure it starts with your waist. The arms and chest just follow. Come back through center, breathing in. Without letting your legs move, can you twist again over to the left? Feel the right arm pull back just a little bit. Come back through center. So the movement itself is fairly small, almost like a micro movement. 2 more times. From tips of shoulder blades up, we have movement. Everything else down is like a statue. Come back through center. Breathe in. 1 last time. Squeeze out. Wring it out like your torso were a wet towel here. Pulling out all that water. Come back through center as you breathe in. And then lower head and shoulders down. Remove hands, arms back at your side. Good, you can go ahead and uncross that left foot, ground it to the earth. From here, 1 knee at a time, draw the right knee to chest, then the left knee to chest. And then go ahead and extend both legs up to the sky. Grab behind the right leg with both hands. And begin to lower your left leg towards the floor. The lower the leg is, the more intense it may be sensation-wise. We're going to stretch out our hamstrings, but also work our abdominals. So if you want more heat for your core, you can do this with head and shoulders off the ground. Again, eyes on your navel. With holding the right leg with both hands, 2 pulses in towards body as you breathe in. Exhale, switch the legs out. Grab the left leg, pulse it in twice on the inhale, and then switch it out on the exhale. We're going to continue this movement. Take it slow for a few reasons. We want to maintain control, right? So our upper body from hips up is a statue, nice and stable. We're also taking it slow so that we can really get a deep old stretch into the backs of the legs. For me personally, I am very tight in my hamstrings, so I make sure that I really almost pause with each pulse so that I can really get that, ooh, good old stretch. Good. If your head is up here and you're finding that you're straining the neck, right, there's that idea of what can soften. You'll take your head back to the ground and redirect focus back to the core, which is working to stabilize your upper body. Let's do this for 5 more seconds. 4, good, keep on breathing. 3, 2, 1, good. Let the legs come back together at the sky. Draw the knees in. If your head were still up, take it down, place your hands on your knees, and just rock gently side to side to recover here. Good. Let's go ahead, take the legs out long to the ground. Push out through your heels, lift your toes to the sky. Where essentially what we want to do here is find mountain pose lying on our back. So mountain pose is normally a standing posture in the yoga practice, but we can still find and create the same energy in our body on the floor. So with heels pushed out and toes lifted to the sky, bringing the inner edges of your feet to parallel. What that will do, right, when the feet move into parallel, it's like the whole leg from the heel to the hip joint rolls in, which means you're bringing a little bit more activity to your inner thighs. So just invite that energy right in between the legs. And then take your arms up and overhead. And then have the palms face each other. Hands should be shoulder width distance apart. And then actively draw your shoulder blades down your back, and that'll drop the shoulders from your ears. Because when we reach, this usually happens. Then we slide down, everything drops. Not only does it drop, but it engages your lats. Okay? And then once we have the arms overhead, we also tend to pop the ribs up and arch the back. I want you to seal the ribs in firm in your belly and feel the middle of your back press onto the floor. And here's your quote-unquote mountain pose lying on your back. We're going to move into a Pilates exercise, the roll-ups. So with this strong, energetic body, we're going to inhale to begin to peel it up. Start with arms, head, and shoulders. You're not going to stop. You're going to exhale, pull all the way up using your core strength so that you sit up tall. Folding over the legs, letting your head fall gently through the arms. Feet are still flexed and shoulders pull away from the ears. Let's come up tall with the next breath and restack the spine. Then as you exhale, tucking from tailbone under, reconnecting back to the ground one vertebra at a time with control to the very end. Don't let your legs go. So we'll begin our movement as we're breathing in. As soon as it gets physically challenging, exhale, push that air out. Feel the legs anchor into the ground as your heart reaches to the sky. Fold for a deep, deep back body stretch. Lifting up on the inhale. And then continue to look forward on the way down because our chin does like to press into our chest here for this exercise. So be mindful of that. Let's do 2 more. Start it on an inhale. Push out. Lift up. Fold. Deep stretch here. Stack it up on the inhale. And maybe feel the arms try to pull behind you as you roll down. Exhale. Makes it a little bit more challenging for the core. Let's take 1 more. Breath in, the lift starts. Don't stop or hesitate. Push out, press up, lift high. Good. Fold forward. Stack it up on the inhale. We'll stay seated now. Exhale, just lower the arms beside you. Good. From this base, let's cross the legs. Hands to the ground in front of us. Let's transition to tabletop. Coming onto our hands and knees. Fingers spread out wide to support the wrists. My hair is everywhere. Whew. Knees underneath the hips. And then instead of looking down between your hands, look slightly forward to keep the length of your spine. Getting some flexion and extension here. On an inhale, let the belly melt to the ground as your heart and tailbone lift up, shine up. Exhale, scoop out the lower belly, round your back, let the head relax between arms again. Inhale, belly relaxes, heart and tailbone lift. As you do that, pull your shoulder heads back a bit to open across the chest. And then as you exhale, feel the lower belly pull in, pull up, push away from the ground with your hands, knees, tops of feet. Breath in, Relax belly, open heart, lift tailbone. This time on the exhale, when you round your back, press the feet in, but lift the knees and shins off the floor. Hollow out your underside. Return the knees and shins to ground as you let belly melt, heart and tailbone find their lift. One more here. Exhale, tops of feet press down, knees and shins float, lower belly pulls in and up. You round the back. Keep your shoulders over your wrists. Let's hold this space for 5, 4, 3. Don't lose the roundness of your spine. 2, 1. Good. Knees down, shins down, neutral. Spine. That is hard to hold, right? So when our hips are lifted up and the knees and shins are floating, we've lost that support. So what then has to work more to keep us there? Our core, also our arms, right? Because then we're holding up more of the weight. Good. From your neutral tabletop position, let's come into child's pose. Widening your knees, letting your big toes touch. Sit back onto heels. As you begin to fold over the legs, you're going to walk your hands out as far forward as you can reach with fingers spread and hands shoulder width apart. Melt in between the legs, and perhaps you allow your forehead to rest on the floor. So this is generally a resting posture. It's also a grounding one. You can come here at any point in time during your practice, but we also want to liven this up. So press the hands into the floor. Lift your arm bones off the ground and slide your shoulder blades down your back. That's going to be a common thing. You're going to hear me say certain cues over and over and over again. Why? Because it's common areas of where we hold tension, and it's things that we have to be reminded of, because now we've trained our bodies to do these things. We have to kind of take a step back, rewind, unravel, and then rewrap in a different way. So I might sound like a broken record. That's okay. I just want to remind you. So with shoulder blades slid down your back, pull the lower belly in and up away from the legs to activate your core. From this space, we can tuck the toes under, start to transition to downward facing dog. So as you begin to lift your hips high into the sky, feel your chest actively push back towards your legs, right, towards your thighs, pulling the shoulders further away from your wrists to support them. Maybe there's still a little bend in both knees to keep your sits bones reaching upward. Heels root towards the floor, whether or not they actually physically make contact with the ground. It's not necessarily about the actual touch, it's about the energy you provide in your body. And then seal the ribs towards your spine so you keep that core firm throughout your down dog positioning. With your next breath in, take those heels now, pop them up high over the balls of your feet. And then as you exhale, glide slowly forward into a plank position, top of a push-up. When you land here, you can come to knees for modified version. Look slightly forward, lift out of the arms. Stay here for another breath in. And then as you exhale, again, start with hips, lifting them upward towards sky, then your chest, pushing back to thighs, then heels grounding towards the earth, then finally ribs sealing in towards body. Let's do that a couple more times. So heels high on the inhale. Wave forward into plank. This is an all body workout. Legs squeeze, glutes squeeze, hips and thighs pull up and away from the floor to activate the lower abs. Take the space between your shoulder blades, puff it up to the sky, activate your chest muscles, soften your elbows so the arms aren't locked, gazing forward. Stay here, breathe in. Those are just all those cues, right? And then exhale back to down dog. Start with your hips, chest to thighs, heels root, ribs seal. Once more, inhale, heels up, and then exhale, feel legs, glutes, core, chest, arms, gaze, your heart reaching to the front of your workspace. Fire up the breath, right? Here's that breath. It's a tool. It's not soft and smooth. It's powerful and strong, right? Keeping all those muscles working hard for you. Take one more breath in. Downward facing dog as you breathe out. Hips, chest, heels, ribs. Now take a look forward with your next inhale. Walk your feet to your hands as you exhale. You're going to take as many or as little a step as you'd like to come to forward fold. Then you're going to halfway lift on a breath in, meaning your shoulders come up to hip level. Flatten out your back, hug between your shoulder blades, open your chest. And then exhale from hips, hinging, melt and fold over the legs, release. We're going to do that a couple more times. Really here, the focus is on a long spine, neck is involved. So breathing in, halfway lifting. You're not pushing the chin forward, you're looking down towards the floor. You're reaching out through the crown of your head. And then exhale, fold, release, melt. Release that energy as you come over the legs. Here's a tip. With your next inhale, halfway lifting, take the arms and extend them behind you, keeping the arms in line with your side body. That helps to open the chest. Exhale, fold, release. On an inhale, come all the way to standing. Ground your feet, rise. Come up tall, lift arms overhead. And then as you exhale, lower the arms beside you with palms faced forward. Here's your mountain pose now, right? Standing. So the same energy, we're going to pause here, Tadasana, that's the Sanskrit name for. So mountain pose. The name alone can speak to the energy needed, right? A mountain is a very strong, powerful structure, right? So we become that. Our feet rooted firm, our thigh muscles, right, hugging onto the bone. Feel your pubic bone zip up towards your navel to root your tailbone to the floor. Seal the ribs in. Pull the shoulder heads back. You're hugging between the shoulder blades, activating your rhomboids. Arms extended downward with fingertips reaching to the floor. Heart extending to the sky. Reach out through the crown of your head, keeping your chin neutral, right? A powerful stance. From this space, tip your head to the right ear, right shoulder. I've gotten a lot of requests for the neck and shoulder region being tense, so here we go. Wrap right arm around the head, hand along the side, right at the left, and then lightly pressing down. With that left arm beside you, that's nice and energetic, take the hand and pull it just a little bit further away from the body. Not much, but still feel the energy drop towards the floor, which is going to pull that left shoulder further away from the ear. With your next inhale, let chin come down towards chest. As you breathe out, slowly lift the chin towards the sky. So we're just getting different angles of our neck here. Chin to chest as you breathe in. The stretch travels more to the back side of the neck. And then as you exhale, lifting, it travels more to the front side. We'll do one more here. Chin down on an inhale. Chin up on the exhale. Good. Let's come back to that starting position. Let the right hand release, the arm come down, and gently lift the head to center. We'll move other side, left ear, left shoulder. Left arm wraps, hand along the side, lightly pressing down, right? We don't want to force it. We just want to bring in a little bit of pressure. Right arm extended down, but slightly out. Pull actively that shoulder down away from your ear. Gives it more stretch. On your breath in, chin coming downward. Exhale, chin lifting upward. Again, chin lowering down. And then chin lifting up. We'll do that once more. Chin towards chest. Chin towards sky. Good. Let's come back to that starting position. Let's release the hand. Let the arm come down. Slowly lift the head back to center. With your next inhale, both arms sweep out and up to the sky. Dive forward over the legs. Exhale. Good. Halfway lift as you breathe in. Plank position on the breath out. Take the hands down and step back to, again, that structure. So legs, glutes, abs, chest, arms, and gaze slightly forward. Go with your next breath in. Come onto the very tiptoes to pull your heart even more to the front of your space. And then as you exhale, lower to the mat slowly with arms hugged into the sides, elbows pointing back, and you can drop to knees to get there first, okay? So once you come down, untuck the toes, and you're gonna roll onto your left side body. As you roll onto your left side body, you're going to extend your left arm out long and rest your head onto the arm. You're stacked here, hips, legs, shoulders. Take your right arm and reach it to the sky, spread out the fingers to keep it lively, and make sure the arm is stuck just above the shoulder. Hug your legs together firm and keep that bottom arm relaxed. We're focusing on strengthening our side body here. Take a breath in. Exhale, lift up the head and legs. Cinch that right side body in. And then come back down on the inhale. So I'm not relying on my bottom arm to help me come up. Exhale. I don't want to focus on the lift itself, like how high I'm getting. I want to focus to make sure that right side body is working to do the job. We'll do 4 more. 4. Hugging legs together will help you stay balanced. Release, back down, breath in. Exhale, head and legs lift, and then the navel draws back to spine. Release on an inhale. We're doing 2 more here. Exhale, we're lifting it up. We're taking it down. 1 last time. Exhale, head and legs lift. Let's stay lifted here. Fingertips reach to the sky. Let's flutter kick the legs. Control this. So notice my legs move here, but I want to keep everything still, particularly that right arm. Yeah, 3. 2, words are not my friend. 1, good, and then release it down. Roll to stomach, then transition to your right side. So, right arm is long, resting your head onto it. Left arm is extended up. Spread out fingers stacked above the shoulder. Legs hug in, breathe it in. Exhale, head and legs slow lift up. It's not going to be huge, right? Come down with control on an inhale. We're working into that left side body. Exhale, cinch it in to get head and legs to lift. And then come down. And you may notice one side's a little different than the other, right? We're gonna do 4 more, so 4. Maybe this is easier for you or more challenging. Release down on an inhale. Do you have more balance or less balance here? Exhale, head and legs, lift. Come down on an inhale. We got 2 more left to go. Exhale, pull belly in tight as you come up. Release. Last one here. Exhale, head, legs, lift, stay lifted. Flutter kick the legs, so we're paddling forward and back, right? Legs have movement, but that left arm stays still for 5. Steady breath. 4. Belly in. 3. Good. 2. Keep moving. 1. And then release. Let it all come down. Roll back onto your stomach. Slide your hands underneath your shoulders. Tuck your toes under. Downward facing dog. Press up. Push back. Root down. Seal in, right? So getting into that alignment, body positioning, what's working, what should be softening. Check in with your body, okay? On an inhale, lift your right leg behind you. Then on your exhale, pull that right foot up towards your right thumb. Ground it, come into low lunge. You may have to physically pick the foot up to get it there, but make sure when you finally land in that space, your right knee should be directly above the ankle, not in front of it, right? Our knees are sensitive. If we put too much weight onto them over time, that can cause potential injury. So bone likes to be stacked on top of bone. Keep your back heel popped up, lifted high over the ball of your foot. Don't dump your body weight over that right leg. Push into your fingertips, press away from the ground, find a little bit of lift, and then lengthen the heart forward. Hug your legs into midline, pull the belly in and up, and then with your next inhale, rise, high crescent lunge. You're bringing your shoulders up over your hips, and you're sweeping your arms to the sky to frame your ears. I'm doing this in a kneeling version. You're in a high lunge. Now, here's our lunge. Our legs are strong, our core is in, our arms have energy, but not too much, right? No tension. Drop the shoulders from your ears, but feel the fingers spread, reach to sky, unhinge your jaw. Good. So I guess I'll do this in the lunge here too. With your next breath in, bend your left knee, your back knee, and start to lower it down towards the floor. Maybe it's an inch, maybe it's a few, maybe it's several, maybe that knee lightly taps. Then dig into your front heel, drive it back up, straighten that left leg back out again. So we'll come down with control. And exhale, dig into that front foot, drive, right? We're firing up our glute there. Come down in that hamstring. Drive up. Let's do 1 more. Breath in for the lower. Straight down like an elevator, so you're staying vertical in your torso. Exhale, find the lift. Good. Inhale, swivel the back heel, open your hips over to the left, and walk your front foot into midline. We've come into warrior 2. Front knee is still bent, press it actively over to pinky side edge of foot, and then press the outer edge of your back foot to floor. Arms are equally swept. Look past your right middle finger for a focal point. Drop the shoulders down, right? Staying here, draw circles with your arms. You want to feel this in your shoulders and between the shoulder blades. 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Reverse direction. Inhale, exhale. For 5, 4, good. 3, 2, 1. Pause. Flip your front palm up on an inhale. Reach up and back, reversing your warrior side body stretch. As you breathe out, side angle. Right forearm comes to thigh, left arm reaches up, then over the head. Palm turned down to find length through the fingertips. You have the option to keep your right forearm where it is or to extend the right arm and maybe reach towards the floor. Gets a little bit more into that right hip, a little bit more intensity there. Okay. If your right arm is still on your right thigh, do not dump your body weight down into it. Push off of it. Good. Staying in your side angle pose, can that right arm perhaps extend out where the left is extended as if you're holding out a big old beach ball? Hold it. Keep rolling open for 3. A lot of core here. 2. Use it for support. 1. Good. Take your hands down. Frame your front foot. Back heel comes up. Low lunge. From low lunge, take a step up. Forward fold. Halfway lift on an inhale. Remember cueing long spine, open chest. Exhale, melt, release. Good. On an inhale, come all the way to standing. Ground the feet. Rise. Lift arms up overhead. Exhale the arms out to T. Spread out fingers, reach wall to wall. Hug between shoulder blades, slide them down towards your tailbone. Keep your hip heads forward as you breathe in. As you exhale, twist over to your right. Don't let your right hip follow that movement. Keep pushing it forward. Center on your inhale, unwind. Twist over to your left. Again, this movement comes for your waistline, arms, chest, and head. Just follow it. Come back through center. Let's do one more each. To the right again, squeeze it out again. Remember that wet towel wringing out water. Fill it back up again as you come through center on an inhale. Squeeze it out over to your left. Come back through center on the inhale, arms to sky. Dive forward over the legs, exhale, release. Good. Halfway lift on an inhale. Plank position on the exhale. Hands ground down, step to form. Okay, so again, you can come to knees as modified version. You have options. Let's take either the feet together or knees together if they're grounded. Let's take the left hand, step it to center, and then roll open to your right side. We're coming into a side plank. So we're using side body strength. You can come down to that right knee, or left knee rather, for support. Or if both legs are lifted, keep pulling the hips away from the floor. You can take the right arm extended up and overhead as an option. You can even start to roll open. That may challenge the balance just a little bit. Squeeze those legs together. Breathe. 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly return back to center plank. Yeah, then the right hand, actually, you know what? We're just going to stay in center plank. Separate the feet so they're back to hip width apart. And press back into downward facing dog. Hips up, chest back, heels down, ribs in. Switched up last second. All right, left leg on an inhale lifts behind you. Exhale, sweep the leg through, step up towards left thumb, low lunge, pause. Check in, knee over ankle, back heel popped and lifted high. Your hips almost draw up to shoulder level to help flatten out your back. Look briefly down at the toes, at the feet, right? If your feet look like they're more as a tightrope positioning, I want you to bring it into train track. That's going to help tons with balance, right? So we have more of a narrow stance. We want to widen the base. From here, legs Energy-wise, hug to midline. Belly pulls in, pulls up. Breath in, rise, stack shoulders up over the hips. High crescent lunge. Use your breath out to land, to settle. What reaches up, but what pulls down at the same time. So deep lunge with your left leg. Back leg is straight and strong, punching to the sky until we breathe in. Then the right knee bends. Begin to lower that right knee towards the ground, straight downward. Then on the exhale, dig into your left foot to drive that right leg back up again. Again, coming down vertically on an inhale. Drive back up, exhale. We're gonna do 2 more of these. High crescent lunge. We bend the back knee, we take it straight downward. Find a level that's going to work for you. Dig into your front foot, drive back up again, right? We're firing hamstring and glute for that. One more time, coming down with control, nice and slow, right? So muscles have to work. And then exhale, pull back up, high crescent lunge. Good, breath in, swivel the back heel in. Open your hips to the right and take that front foot, walk it a little bit more to the midline of your workspace. You should have a heel to arch alignment with your feet when you look down. Shoulders are right up over your hips. Arms are swept out equally. You're looking past your left middle finger for a focal point and you're dropping those shoulders down away from the ears. We're going to draw circles again. So control this movement. It's your muscles between shoulder blades, your lats, and your shoulders. 3, 2, 1. Reverse. It's also your core. Pull the belly in firm to support everything else. 3, 2, 1. Good. Breath in. Left palm flips up. Reach up and back. Reversing warrior. On your exhale, move into side angle. Left forearm to the thigh. Right arm reaching up and overhead, palm turned down. So there's a nice long energy line from the outer edge of right foot all the way up through the fingertips. If you're on your forearm still, don't dump into it. Push away from. If you'd like, you can extend that left arm and reach it towards the earth as an option. Don't let your booty push back. Press the hips forward. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Okay, if you'd like, maybe that left arm lifts out in front as well. Imagine you're holding a big old beach ball out to the side, but don't lose your openness, right? Don't fall to the floor. Open it up for 3. Belly tight. 2, 1. Good. Release hands to the ground. Lift your back heel up. Low lunge. Whew, that was a lot of effort, yeah? Take a step up. Forward fold. Good. Halfway lift on an inhale. Remember the energy and openness here. Exhale, let it release. Come up to standing on an inhale. Ground it, lift it. Arms overhead, interlace your fingers. Exhale, hands behind the head. Arms wide. Stretch to your right on a breath in. Use belly strength to pull yourself up slow. Exhale. Stretch to your left, breath in. Tighten up that belly, exhale, slow pull up, so don't use any momentum there. Breath in, release the hands, extend the arms to sky. Dive and fold, exhale over the legs. Good, halfway lift on an inhale. Plank position on the exhale, grounding hands. Stepping back again, structure, power, strength, alignment. Walk your feet together, or if you're on your knees, knees together. Step your right hand to center. Roll open to the left side of your mat, side plank. So you can come down to your right knee for support, okay? Or you can keep both legs lifted, but take that right hip from underneath and pull it away from the ground. Don't collapse into your right arm, push out of it, find your lift. Left arm can stay extended straight up. You could reach the arm overhead and perhaps even start to roll open as an option, not a requirement, but maybe you explore, maybe you challenge. Take one more deep breath in here. With control, with mindfulness, exhale, come back down to a center plank. Then lower to your knees, come to tabletop. Stretch out those lovely arms of ours. On an inhale, right arm reaches out to the side, sweeps up to the sky. Look to your hand, open up the chest. As you breathe out, that arm is going to thread underneath you. Look to your left, actively reach it across the floor and rest down onto that arm. Back of the shoulder, we're stretching out. Just breathe into the space here. Make sure the right hand doesn't go limp, right? There's energy that will pull across, which will give more sensation to that stretch behind you. Good. Take one more breath in here. As you exhale, unravel, unwind, come back to tabletop. Left arm, breath in, sweeps out, sweeps up, open up, look up. Thread as you exhale, through and underneath. Look to the right, keep stretching across, and then lower onto that left arm. Good. Take one more breath in. Let it unwind. Exhale back to center. So center in your tabletop. Remember, fingers spread out, supports your wrists. Hands are shoulder width apart. Knees are hip width distance apart. And for the length of your spine, remember not letting the gaze fall down, rather slightly forward. We're going to work into lots of things for this one, okay? Lots of things to be aware of. We're going to move into leg circles. So essentially we want to focus just moving one part of our body, but in order to keep structure, we have to focus on like 3 different areas of the body as well. So in your tabletop position, we want to focus on the leg we're moving, like I had mentioned, which we'll be using our glute power to do so. We also want to make sure that our lower back doesn't begin to sway, which means the lower belly has to draw in and up. And we also want to make sure we don't start to collapse into our arms. So we always have to push out of them. So it's core strength, arm strength, glute strength. Take the left leg and stretch it back behind you. Now, when you stretch the leg back, don't dump your weight to your left side. Keep everything centered and equal. Either a flexed foot or pointed toe to keep that leg firm. Very slow, but big. Begin to draw some circles here. Think of it like a Ferris wheel. So the more important part of that movement is the lift up high. That's going to really fire up that glute. You're using your core to stabilize everything else. You're using your arm power so that you do not collapse, and always send your chest forward. 3, 2, 1. Pause where you are and just reverse the direction. It might take a moment. Strength, breath, and focus. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Bring that right knee back underneath the hip. Tuck the toes. And then push your body weight back. Get a little stretch. So a lot of the exercises we do in this fusion class are very small, very minute, very controlled, but there's a lot that you have to really be focused on to obtain that small, minute movement, right? A lot of muscles involved. All right, let's go ahead. Come forward again to tabletop. Left leg, we're going to stretch back. Again, make sure your weight doesn't fall into the right side. Everything stays centered. You're looking forward. You're out of the arms. Belly is in and up. Flex your pointed toe. Toes up. We're going to begin to draw these circles. Find that big lift up, that sweep around. Again, your core strength so that the rest of your body is still. 3, 2, 1. Pause. Reverse direction. Check if you'd fallen between the arms or if you collapsed in. Lift out. Send the heart forward. Breath. 3, 2, 1. Good. And then release the left knee back to the ground. And then push straight back. Not quite a child's pose because we're not letting our sits bones sit towards heels. We're just pushing energy straight back. It's a little bit more stretch into the glute and outer hip region. All right, let's go ahead and come forward again. Let's have a seat at the center of our workspace. Let the legs come out in front of you, flex your feet. Staff pose, so seated but strong. Tent the fingers of each hand, bring the hands beside your hips. Push off of the ground with those fingertips to get your posture. Heart up, shoulder blades slide down your back. Again, remember that cueing, that really just helps get the shoulders away from the ears, and it also activates your upper back, which helps with your posture. Then the belly pulls in up to support this, as you can then extend your arms out in front of you. Palms face each other, hands, right, always a little wider than shoulder width, so we keep chest opened. Sit taller with your next breath in. When you exhale, tuck your tailbone under, roll back just a little bit, hold that space. We're not going to do a whole lot of moving here. What we're going to do is notice, okay? So rounded spine a little bit. We tucked, we rolled back a little tiny bit. And we're going to roll back a little bit further, right? So we want to make sure as we're rolling back little by little, we don't lose the lifted heart, right? We don't collapse in the chest. Our chin doesn't fall to that chest, it stays neutral. Our shoulders don't pull to our ears. Come back a little bit further. Keep driving your heels forward away from you and anchoring your legs down to the earth. Come back a little bit further, pull the belly in tighter. So we're kind of focusing here on spinal articulation as well, right? Coming down one vertebra at a time. Come back a little bit further, check. Chest, shoulders, chin, breath, leg power. Come back a little bit further, right? Notice I'm adjusting. You feel me wiggle? But just make sure I'm plugged down and in. Come back a little bit further. Let's hold this space. Maybe you're shaking like I am. Just means the muscles are kind of working for you. Breath for 5, 4, steadying, 3, keeping strong, 2, 1. Good. Slowly take it to the floor. Release. Recover. Draw one knee in at a time, and that's just to protect the lower back. Place your hands on your knees. Draw circles with those knees. Massaging the backs of your hips, your SI joints, which lie right above the tailbone. This is one of my favorite massages because my lower back is not the most pleased with me lately because I'm doing a lot of computer time. Let's go ahead and reverse direction. So this is just nice to do every once and again, just to kind of roll everything out. Good. Then pause with legs centered. Keep them in. Let's draw the arms out to T or cactus your arms if you're close to an object. Let's slowly guide both legs to the right. And then look over your left shoulder. Just a nice little twist here. Make sure that the backs of both of your shoulders stay grounded to help the thoracic spine, right, your upper back area, to actually rotate. Deep breaths in, long breaths out. Good. Stay here for one more inhale. Fill to the top. Squeeze a breath out, tighten up your belly to help lift the legs up through center, head through center, and then begin to transition to the other side, right? Legs lower to the left, and you'll look over the right shoulder for that twist. Both shoulders are anchored. Let the legs settle. Deepen that breath again. Take one more inhale. Firm up your core. Exhale, legs up, head through center. Bring your arms beside you, closer in, and then lift your legs to the sky. So, lifting your legs to the sky, make sure the knees are above the hips, meaning the feet more than likely are going to pull a little more forward towards the front of your workspace. If we pull the legs in too close, it kind of lifts our booty off the floor. We want our tailbone to be grounded. And if you find that legs fully extended like this here bothers, say, your lower back or your hip flexors, take a little bend to the knees, right? Soften that space. And then pull the belly in to help support the lift of the legs, which helps also support the lower back. On a breath in, take the right leg, begin to lower it down to a level that will work for you. Exhale, belly firm, lift the leg back up to starting point. Left leg on an inhale begins to lower downward. And then as you're lowering the leg downward, feel the toes stretch forward. Exhale, pull back up again. Again, right leg coming down. And again, you can have a little bend in your knees if you're feeling this right in the hip flexors. Exhale, pull core in, push breath out, lift leg. Then the left leg comes down to a level. Again, works for you. Exhale, pull back up. We're going to do 2 more here, but now both legs at the same time. We're going to lower downward, which may mean that the range of motion gets a little bit smaller because it's more challenging, right? Lower belly pulls in, lift legs up, but don't pull them in right too closely. Let's do 1 more here. Coming down with resistance. Press your spine to the floor. Exhale, lifting legs, bending knees back into the chest. Place your hands on your knees. Use your hands. Open legs out wide, circle around and back in together again. So legs are circling in opposite directions. This is a nice massage for those hip flexors. Good. When your legs come back together again, pause, release the knees, feet to the ground, then slide the legs out long. Maybe open the legs to a narrow V. Have your arms beside you again, slightly angled with palms faced up. The feet are heavy here. The shoulders are relaxed and soft, melting to the earth. The eyes begin to close. The teeth slightly part, unhinge your jaw. Let the tongue fall away from the roof of your mouth. Taking just a few moments of rest here into what I love to always call lightning shavasana, right? So a little in between of no such thing from Pilates and yes, a thing in yoga practice. Just moments of stillness with breath. So just returning to your inhales and your exhales. They're still deep, they're still full, but softer now. More gentle. Maybe noticing the body, how it may feel differently than it had at the beginning of this class. This time for pause and reflection. Right, always balancing effort and ease. As you lay here in stillness, slowly just take one hand to your heart and one hand to your belly. Further this connection to the self. So lightly pressing in and feel, right? Feel maybe the beating of your heart, right? The movement of your belly due to your own breath. And with the eyes still closed, take this moment to just thank yourself that you took this time to be here, to show up, to do the work, to give your mind, body, soul this opportunity of connection, of breath, and movement as a whole. Take the arms, reach them overhead as you breathe in. As you exhale, sweep the arms around, draw knees into chest. Begin to rock yourself forward and back, up and down the spine until you've rocked to seated. Coming up to seated, ground the sits bones to the earth, lift your heart to the sky, arms at your side with palms faced up. Take a deep breath in, reach arms out and up. Connect the palms above the head and then exhale through your midline. Pull your hands to heart center. Thumb knuckles to sternum, bring chin to chest. Bow for a moment. Remember that we are given just one body. It's important. We listen to it, we honor it, we respect it, and we always keep it moving. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, the rest of your week. I will see everyone very soon. Namaste.